Financial Survival Network, helping you survive and thrive in the new economy. For a free financial survival toolkit and newsletter, sign up at KerryLutz.com, KerryLutz.com.
1490 WGCH. This is Kerry Lutz. You're listening to the Financial Survival Network, and it's time for another Triple Lutz Report. Today we're going to talk about gold prices. Gold recently was trading in the high 1500s, although for a very short period of time. It then went up, trading in the 1600s. Last week, it broke 1700. Stayed there for over 3 days. In fact, it's still over 1700. And the price today on November 2nd, 2011, $1,736.50. Now, there's a lot of talk. People are worried about gold because it took a 30% hit. It was trading at $1,928. It came under massive selling pressure. If you want to talk conspiracies, we can do that. Just send me an email, KL@KerryLutz.com, and we can talk conspiracy theories. But it's really irrelevant because conspiracies, price-fixing schemes, be they government-induced or whomever, they can only work in the short to medium term. They can never work long-term. And the reason is quite simple. There's a fixed amount of gold. There's an unlimited amount of paper that can be created on the various futures exchanges across the globe. But in the final analysis, it's supply and demand. And they can create artificial supply in terms of paper, futures paper, but they can't create artificial gold. They've been trying since Merlin the magician and alchemy in the Middle Ages, but you know what? There's only a certain amount of physical gold available. And right now that physical gold is in incredible demand. People want it. Central banks want it. The Chinese want it. The Indians want it. Even Americans are waking up to it. And less than 1% of the world's wealth is held in the form of precious metals. And as more and more people, companies, countries, central banks wake up to the fact that the fiat paper system is doomed, the demand can only increase. And demand will be increasing as more and more of these currency units are created. So you have two things happening. Inflation, where the gross size of the money supplies of every major industrialized and developing country in the world are increasing by geometrically. They're increasing 10, 20, 30, 40% a year. That has to result in massive inflation. And then you've got massive demand. When you combine inflation and demand, you have a recipe for rocket fuel. And we're talking rocket fuel in terms of precious metals prices. If you're having doubts, if you're worrying about volatility, my advice to you and the advice of experts, be it David Morgan, James Turk, Peter Schiff, Doug Casey, Bill Bonner. You can look around at anyone. They're all telling you that the dynamics have never been better for an escalation in gold prices. And if you're the kind who really worries, who needs things to worry about so that you stay up at night and you can't fall asleep, start worrying about deficits, start worrying about money printing, start worrying about fiat currency collapse. We're talking on a global scale that has never been experienced in the history of man. Yes, you have had localized collapses of currency units limited to countries or areas, but you've never had the entire world at once be on the verge of having a failing fiat unbacked currency collapse. That's where we're at now. Nobody knows how close we are to getting there. Nobody knows how long it's going to take, but it is inevitable. As Jeff Christian of CPM Group, who is, I would call a perma-gold, perma-silver bear, who believes that they're not being fixed, said at the recent Silver Summit, the current monetary system that we are utilizing, that the world is on, is the only one that hasn't collapsed. And while I agree with that, what that statement shows is it's just a matter of time before it does collapse, and collapse it's going to do. There's no question about it. The longest running monetary system in history was created by the Byzantine Empire, and it was gold-backed, and it lasted for 800 years. The question I have for Mr. Christian and Benjamin Bernanke, head of the Federal Reserve Bank, and Tiny Timmy Geithner, who's our Secretary of Treasury, and every major bank out there is, do you think the United States dollar and the global monetary system that's based upon it is going to last 800 years like the Byzantines? I don't think so. In fact, if it lasts another 8 years, that would be quite an accomplishment. And the rate we're going right now, it could be a matter of 8 months or less. But prepare yourself. It is going to happen. There is nothing that any government can do to stop it. So buckle your seatbelt, get ready, and this has been another Triple Lutz Report signing off.